Alright, I'm back because I think I'm going to be busy these next few days because it's my birthday, so hopefully I find something to do this weekend. Yes, so I would be old! Not really in any... What? What happened to my leg? I have no clue, but I bet you it was Set, because Set's the little... so-and-so with claws. Anyways, so here's going to be my little series of what did I learn at a job. And I'm not going to start with babysitting because, like, everybody babysits, essentially, I think. Like, starting out if you're, like, a teenage girl or something and parents want something to do or they need somebody to watch their kids, and I guess what you learn is to not drown kids, not beat them, make sure they behave and eat, beat them with a stick, duct tape them in a closet when they misbehave. No. So I'm going to start with my first big job I had, which was, where you actually have taxes taken out, and that was in the theater. I was a theater technician, and when I started, it was a part-time job, and it became seasonal, because it became law that you had to give part-timers insurance, and yeah, but that's okay, I don't really mind. I actually still have that job. Like, it's almost impossible. I actually was like, hey, boss man, I'm going to be disappearing for a year. You think you could hold my job for me? And he's like, why would I fire you? And I was like, oh, excellent. Awesome. And so, I can't ever get comfortable. I need, like, a camera that doesn't move so I won't move. So, in the theater, what did the theater teach me? It taught me to be a dick. Okay, I'm going to be killed for people who are theater technicians and like, no, it doesn't teach you to be a dick. No, I was a dick beforehand. If you've ever worked in a theater, you know that it's like busting your tail, getting everything set up and ready, and then a lot of the rest of it is just sitting, not doing that much, And it really depends on what's in there. I mean, if you get cues set up, as soon as you have the cues set up, all you have to do is hit go, once you know the script forward and backwards and stuff like that. So, I mean, there's cat hair. There's cat hair everywhere. But, it's not a good job if you're afraid of heights. I'll say that, because, I was a skinny little thing, so my specialty is in lighting. Sound was not my favorite. I could do it, but I didn't like it. Oh, sound, you're so boring. Okay, not really boring, but it's mixing. Lights are pretty and visual. Ooh, I make things look pretty. And there are many times that I'm like, don't hit blackout button, must hit blackout button, people annoy me, gonna hit the blackout button, don't hit the blackout, anyways, but, yeah, so, it teaches you to work really, really, really hard, but it also teaches you, like, terminology, and it kind of does teach you to be a dick, because there are some people who show up and they want everything in the world, and yet in their contract it says that they're going to supply everything in the world, and then they don't supply everything in the world, and they get angry and stuff like that. And so, it's like, well, what am I going to do with that? I guess I'll take crap and string it together and make it look good. Which, technicians, people in the background, we can take crap and make it look great. That's like one of our... My hair's burnt. That's like one of our special talents, and it's not like I am like one of the only few females that actually like works there, and it's nothing but a bunch of guys. And so, if you're, and don't get me wrong, these guys can be complete gentlemen and stuff like that, but they don't need to be with me, because, I mean, I don't want to say anything like sexual harassment, because I never felt harassed. I harass well. I harass back. But it teaches you, I mean, you gotta be like one of the guys or something. I don't know. It's such a fun environment for me, and don't get me wrong, I mean, after working, because I'm one of the people that everybody loved to work with, because I will find a way to make this look good, and I will try and do everything that the client wants. I'll try and do it. If you want it done, I will, for the most part, try and make sure that it gets done, and everything. And there are some awesome people. I mean, we have a number of awesome companies that would come through into our theater. And I mean, it's not even a big, it's not really a huge theater. It's a nice little one inside of a community center. So, ooh, I'm giving you hints on where I am. It's in a community center. But, yeah, for now, I'm moving. Doesn't matter. But I completely lost where I was going. No, I love the job. I absolutely love it. I mean, there are times when we would be working from like 4 in the morning till evening, and we would be working days on end next to each other, and my boss and I would want to murder him. I would want to like take him and just like break him into a million pieces. But, I mean, our relationship was closer to that of siblings. I mean, I don't know, like, I call him Boss Man. I'm like, yo, Boss Man! Yes, Boss Man! And, I mean, it's a big kind of running joke and gag, but I'm like, I've been there not as long as he has, but I'm like the second person who's been there just as long. I have second seniority, so if he's not there, I'm in charge, and even when he's there, I'm like, sometimes in charge, because I'm like, alright, y'all gotta get this crap together, and I mean, you will feel at times, because there's always, you know, people will be slipping away to go someplace to do, slack off maybe, get away from the stress, or they might be working on other projects because they know you can handle it, and it might be really annoying when you need to run errands, because, I mean, when you're running backstage in a theater, you essentially are about everything. I mean, flies, lights, sound, you all kind of tie it together, and you make sure everybody's working to make sure that they're doing their job right. And I mean, it's either a lot of work or no work at all. And so, I mean, and if you get really good at your job, you get to a point where you can kind of mess around while doing your job. I mean, I had it to where I would write whole stories and yet still get cues absolutely right. I mean, but, I mean, it's different to me it's different when you're running sound, because you have to constantly tweak, especially if you're doing a play, because this person might be coming on with their mic, and they might be, like, a really low person, and then all of a sudden they have a scene where they're just freaking out, and your mics are like, oh dear God, kill this. And, I mean, we switched over to where it was, we switched from analog to digital, and so I never really got to play with that one as much, because I haven't been in the theater lately, because I got a real job, as my boss said. He's like, oh, you got a real job and everything. We always talk about like getting real jobs and leaving the theater and that kind of stuff. I mean, don't get us wrong, we all absolutely love each other and we love the job, but I mean, like I said, it's a seasonal position. It was part-time, and the title got switched to seasonal, and then the money started out like this, and then I got a raise, but I got frozen at that raise, but they raised the starting point, so I should actually be higher than that, but they, froze me at that level and froze everybody at a lower level, so I shouldn't really complain. I should be much higher. They used to have bosses pay, like, when the boss wasn't there, you got, like, seniority pay, and then that was taken away, but, I mean, it's not the theater, you're working for the city and everything, and so I can understand that, because that's allowing people to keep their jobs and not firing people, and so I love it. I absolutely love working in the theater and backstage. Like, it's a lot of fun to have the coworkers, and I mean, a lot of them are kids, and like, when I say kids, I mean they're in high school and stuff, but I mean it's all a bunch of fun. Like, you know, I have talks to these kids, and I'm like, what are you studying in college? You better be doing something practical so you don't waste your money, because we're in a depression right now. Our economy sucks, and that happened before I got out of college, and I ended up a little screwed, and I don't want that to happen to you. I mean, it's more like a family when it comes to theaters, and when you come and you have other techs come in there, I mean, it's just, it's a camaraderie, essentially. I would say that most everything is a camaraderie in it, and so I absolutely enjoyed being a theater technician, and I think most of what it taught me was, and when I was talking about terminology, I mean, it teaches you to work hard, because there are times when you, like I said, you have to bust it and get it done, but, I mean, it teaches you to task well, you know, to multitask and keep things in order and stuff like that. I mean, and it does teach you sometimes to be a dick to people, because sometimes you just, I mean, people come into a theater and they've seen some big magical show, and that's what they want, is some big magical show, and they don't give you, like, any ability to make a big magical show, and you're like, I can't do this. I can do this, and this is what well, that's not exactly what I was saying. And then, like, they change it 50 million times. Like, you have one focus, and they keep changing the focus, because it's not quite what we wanted. We wanted more saturated color. Well, you should have brought more saturated colors, and you should have known with this, and we have this kind of setup. I mean, if you don't put in there that you have lighting design, then we're not gonna, it's an as-is, because we have other things in there. Oh, or my favorite is when people want to change stuff, and they're not made to change stuff, and you have, like, a play coming up, and so you're set for the play, and they're like, well, these lights don't look good. Well, we already warned you that we have a play, and you're just in here temporaries, and you can't change lights. And if you do, I'm going to stab your eyeball with a flippin' crescent wrench. But yeah, terminology. I keep spacing off. There is, like, a list of terms that, like, DN, theater technicians are like, oh yeah, the DN, the DN button, it does nothing. When everything is blasting so loud, and you can't tweak anything any louder, you're like, okay, do that DN button. How's that sound? They're like, oh yeah, that sounds so much better, and you're like, yeah, you deaf people. I mean, it's all about mixing with sound, and that, I'm not gonna tell you all the secrets. I shouldn't have told you the DN secret, but it's kind of common knowledge, you can look that stuff up. But yeah, I think theater essentially taught me to multitask, have fun with the guys, and be a dick. That's what theater taught me. And, I mean, like I said, I still work there, and I will forever work anywhere in sort of theater. And, unfortunately, if you work in the theater, you will see it everywhere you go. You will pay attention. Every concert you go to, you're going to be looking at what your specialty is. You're going to be listening to what your specialty is. You're going to be hearing. You're going to be seeing. You're going to be comparing. You're going to be like, oh, they're using this many SLR, and they're using... Don't ask me. Anyways, you're going to be paying attention to every little thing. It's like you can't turn it off. If you've done that for years, you just cannot turn it off. And I've always been one person that I love simplicity, where other people like big, huge stage things and all that kind of stuff. Like, I've been to a zombie concert. Rob Zombie and my sister's been to a few zombie concerts, and I was not impressed. Like, everybody's like, oh, it was so awesome, it was great, it was fantastic. He had pyrotechnics going every 15 seconds. Aside from the pyrotechnics, he had, like, dancing robotic figures and dancing monster figures, and he had dancing girls, and he had a video screen going on, and he had the lights, and he had this and that, and everything. He had all this going on, and there was so much on stage that everybody's like, yeah, that's so amazing, and I'm like, ugh. And I actually, like, I think everybody was paying so much attention to everything else, they didn't pay attention to him. Because, I mean, seriously, it was like, and I'm standing here, and I'm singing, I'm gonna sing my song while standing here. Hold on.
my song's almost over. I might take a few steps over here. I'm gonna sing. I'm singing. You guys are paying too much attention to all this other crap. Go over here. I'm gonna sing.
I mean, my sister said half of the concert she's been to, he wouldn't even finish a set. Which, I mean, you know what? I don't know what was going on, but... And don't get me wrong. I think Rob Zombie's awesome. I love his music. I think that he makes some pretty awesome movies. I think he's really great. I just was not pleased with his, but some people love all the stuff. They like all that, oh my god, more, I need more, I want more, and I hate it because it takes away from it. I'm like, you're not doing anything. You're being a lazy bastard and you're letting the rest of it cover up for you. I mean, you gotta time it right. Like, it was a Zombie Ozzy concert that year, and Ozzy was on after him, and he, like, used the pyrotechnics, like, twice, and I was like, oh, ooh, because it wasn't overdone. You know, you weren't like, oh, I've seen this, and I've seen that. Yeah, you keep blowing fire. Good for you. Like, it wasn't overdone. And, like, he performed. Like, at one point, he went off stage, and it was, Zakk Wylde was doing guitar solo, and I swear it was like an hour-long guitar solo, and he played to each of the stage. Like, he played over here to this audience, and then he played on the speakers over here to this audience, and then he played to the people in the center, and I mean, and then he played back here, and I mean, seriously, my sister and I are like, is Ozzy back taking a nap? And I was like, probably, but that's cool, because he can play, and it's awesome. You know, it's things like that, you know, it kind of makes you giggle, but yeah, it was a great concert. But yes, so, I am one of simplicity, and other people like more stuff, but, I mean, you pay attention to that. Like, I have not been to a concert where I'm like, oh, yeah. And when I say simplicity, then you have Alice Cooper, who has a stage show, but his is an actual theatrical show. And people could argue that Zombie is a theatrical show, but, I mean, it doesn't tell a story. It's just a bunch of stuff at the same time. And so, I'm listening to music on my Zune, sorry. But, yes, Zune, I don't have an iPod. My iPod broke, and I got this, and it contains more music. How dare I not be an Apple person? Oh. But yes, so I think that's what theater taught me. I love the job. It's not for everybody. I mean, like I said, I was one of the only girls, and guys can be crude, and you have to have strength. And I was the hoss of the theater, which is hilarious. But I mean, stage lowering, I was there for about everything, which stage lowering is never fun. Oh, ours weren't on a hydraulic system, so that wasn't pleasurable. But yeah, it's something that takes a few years, and if you've been in theater, you understand it. It's something that you'll do for the rest of your life, but I mean, it's not always the case. Is that a cat? That is a cat! I'm like, when did I get a black jacket? I was like, that's a weird jacket up there. Why would I have a jacket out? It's summer, it's a cat. See, cats are distracting me. So, this was a very long video on what theater taught me. And so, yeah, they taught me to be a dick.